over the weekend, but obviously it was a big one in American sports in general because the GOAT himself, the GOAT of all GOATs, Lionel Messi, makes his not MLS, but Inter Miami debut as they take on Cruz Azul in Leagues Cup over the weekend. Cruz Azul falls to Inter Miami, so Inter Miami take the lead, or they take the first win in Leagues Cup, a 2-1 win. Messi, in the closing minutes of the match, he decides that he's going to put the team on his back, and they win. They win the game off of a free kick, and it was as anticipated, right? You had Kim Kardashian in the building, LeBron James was in the building. I saw a Colombian singer, which I know a lot of people don't know about, but Camilo. Camilo was there. Camilo is a international. I don't know what you would call him. He's not reggaeton. He's just like Latin music. He does more like different types of like softer vocal melancholic music. But he's really chill music. But he was in the stands with his beautiful wife as well. So it was as anticipated. And I remember when David Beckham came to MLS, all the superstars and Hollywood stars that came to Carson, California to watch Beckham shoot up with the Galaxy. And you're seeing this here now with Messi. It was Leagues Cup, and we didn't know really what to expect with this new tournament. But geez Louise, did Messi and company really just take over the spotlight here in Miami? We all know Miami sports. When there's a little bit of buzz, there's a little bit of excitement, whether it be a player or whether it be just success on the field, the pitch, the court, the rink, or whatever you may want to call it. Miami shows out. It is a bandwagon city. It is what it is. They have better things to do than watch sports, but they came out and they showed out for Messi and for the GOAT. So it was pretty cool to see Messi making himself at home here in Miami. Just curious to see what they do here in MLS play. Obviously, they're in a good spot in U.S. Open Cup. I think they're in the semifinals of U.S. Open Cup, and they get their first win here in Leagues Cup. So things looking good, and we'll see what the impact of Messi will do going forward here, man. But you already see the jerseys. You see people talking about it. You see everywhere. You know, people subscribing to Leagues Cup now. So it is crazy how Messi's kind of just brought this new like breath of fresh air for MLS. People are intrigued. People want to watch. People now are intrigued. More importantly, now people are intrigued with their local squad too, which is really cool to see as well. We'll talk a little more about Leagues Cup in just a second. They were able to get themselves a big dub over Club Tijuana. Leagues Cup has begun. Real quick, let's go over some of the scores before I get into this matchup. What's just happening? I think we're still live. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right. Let's talk Philadelphia Union. Over the weekend, they were able to get themselves a big dub over Club Tijuana. Leagues Cup has begun. Real quick, let's go over some of the scores before I get into this weekend. They were able to get themselves a big dub over Club Tijuana. Leagues Cup has begun. Real quick, let's go over some of the scores before I get into this matchup. Cruz Azul get the win. Inter Miami get the win to start things off against Cruz Azul. Obviously, it was a big one as Messi makes his debut for Inter Miami, 2-1. Orlando City gets the win over Houston in PKs, 5-4. Mazatlan, it's a new team, I believe. I think they took over from Morelos and Liga MX. They beat Austin FC 3-1. Charlotte beats FC Dallas in penalties 4-1. Club Leon beats Vancouver 16-15 in PKs. That's a long PKs, man. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God. Imagine being a fan in that one. Going 16 rounds of penalties. Oh my God. I'd be ripping my hair out. Montreal beats Pumas 4-2 in PKs. Red Bull beat the Revs 4-2 in PKs. We'll talk about Philly and Tijuana. Real Salt Lake beats Seattle 3-0. Portland beats San Jose 2-0. Wait, first of all, Real beat Seattle with 10 men. That's interesting. Atlas, or should I say Ratlas, beat NYCFC 1-0. Cincinnati beat SKC and PKs 4-2. Nashville beat Colorado 2-1. Minnesota beats Puebla 4-0. Columbus beat St. Louis 2-1. And that's it for match day 1. That was between Friday and Sunday. So we had 3 days of matches. So we have some more coming up tomorrow. Inter Miami versus Atlanta should be fun. Santos Laguna versus Houston. Wait, first off, is that Atlanta? Is that in Atlanta? That's gonna be in Miami. Okay, because I was about to say they're gonna sell out that Mercedes Benz, dude. It's gonna be crazy. Houston versus Santos Lugano. Mazatlán versus Club Juarez. FC Dallas versus Necaxa. LA Galaxy versus Club Leon. Montreal versus DC United. Of course, Philly versus Querétaro, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Club San Luis versus New England. NYCFC versus Toronto. Monterrey versus Real Salt Lake. Tigres versus Portland. Chivas de Guadalajara versus Cincy. Minnesota versus Chicago. Nashville versus Toluca. And Club America versus St. Louis. It should be an interesting round. But our matchup against Club Tijuana, it wound up being a 3-1 victory here for Philly. I'll be honest, the Union just they had control of this matchup throughout. Club Tijuana put themselves in a tough spot early on in the matchup. They get themselves in red card situation that draws a penalty kick in the 19th minute. Nicolas Diaz with the handball, with the foul. I'm sorry. Daniel Gazdak punishes Tijuana and he puts the early goal away, 1-0 off the PK, converts again. So I know this is MLS play, but that is technically, I think, his 10th penalty kick that he's knocked in for the season. So that's pretty remarkable. So that's 1-0 early on. You get the second goal by Julian Carranza. Was offsides? Was it offsides? Was it not? They call it not offsides at the end, and Julian Carranza gets his second goal in the 56th minute. Kevin Balanta, another foul, and that brings another red card. So Club Tijuana played with 9 men for a little over 30 minutes, about 34 minutes. So yeah, it kind of tells you everything for Club Tijuana. And then Julian Carranza punishes in the 71st minute. It was a great build-up play. Jesus Bueno passes it back to Julian Carranza, who does a great job of staying in that open pocket, and he buries it. And it was a third goal there, and the Union would win 3-1. The lineup consisted of Olivier Mbaizo, Jakob Glezis, Jack Elliott, Kai Wagner as the back line. You had the midfield diamond in this one again. You had Jack McGlynn at the left, Jesus Brujo Martinez at the 6, Jesus Bueno at the right, Daniel Gazak, tip of the diamond with Julian Carranza and Quinn Sullivan as your 2 forwards in this one. There was a lot of question marks heading into this match because we didn't know exactly how clubs would handle Leagues Cup. Would they take this seriously? And from what I gather, the Union are taking this seriously, and the Union sent a message as well. They punished Tijuana. There was nothing Tijuana can do. Now, Piojo, the manager, Hector Torres, the manager of Club Tijuana, he's making excuses for both of those red cards. It's typical. And the Union just punish. The way Julian Carranza was playing here today, I think he was a 9.6 on Foot Mob as far as his rating. Dude, he was fantastic. One of his better performances throughout the season. And we know when Carranza is playing like a fucking dog that he is, this is the type of performances that you do get. Quinn Sullivan and Carranza were both able to stretch the back line. The back line was a problem for Tijuana. We talked about that leading up to the match. The build-up play was really good. The confidence overall has been really good. So we kind of complain about this whole tournament as fans, and rightfully so. I mean, we want to be playing MLS right now. We want to be getting points. We want to get our play right heading into playoffs. But I think that this tournament may actually be a blessing in the disguise, because I think that the Union, especially the way they played on Saturday, can gather some momentum and take their heading back into MLS play. Now we'll see what happens on Wednesday against Guitarro, but they were dominant on Wednesday. Back line was dominant, and they get a goal back, and Carlos Gonzalez is a great forward here for Club Tijuana, but we're just too much, man. We were just too much for them. Andre Blake stopping penalty kicks, it was overall just a fantastic performance. Carranza with 2 goals, already dominating this tournament here. And you were able to see some young player. I mean, you saw Bueno, you saw Quinn Sullivan, you saw Jack McGlynn, And I'm curious to see how much rotation you will be seeing going forward. You see a lot of Urre, no Bedoya, right? You do have some other players in the bench. You have some guys that you haven't really seen either. We talked about the Jeremy Raffanielos of the world. We've talked about the Richard Davis of the world. Curious to see how Jim kind of does implement those guys. We'll preview Quintaro on Wednesday, but overall, that was fun on Saturday. It was really, really fun on Saturday. And of course, when you are playing at home, it is an advantage, and that was the difficulty for Tijuana. Tijuana needed to come in here with the perfect game, and they just did not do that. So that's why we are celebrating the win, man.